Principal Secretary is present. Members of the KBA Governing Council, KBA member CEOs and representatives, our KBA CEO, Raymond Morenje, and the members of the KBA Secretariat, distinguished partners, friends, stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you to the opening of the 2024 Inua Biashara MSME exhibition and the release of the 2023 Banking Industry Total Tax Contribution Report. Indeed, this is a reflection of our collective commitment to support the economy by one, boosting the MSME sector as the backbone of our economy, and two, contributing immensely to the revenue for public services. Let me pay special tribute today to His Excellency the President for honoring the banking sectors and business, our citizens' invitation to be here today. Thank you, Mr. President. As an industry, we acknowledge that MSMEs play a crucial role in our economy, contributing about a third of Kenya's GDP and providing 8 to 9 of every 10 job opportunities created in the country. Supporting their growth, therefore, is vital, not only for economic development, but also for poverty reduction through innovative business solutions. It is our ambition to continue putting measures in place to unlock MSME's immense potential for Kenya's socio-economic transformation. In line with this ambition and our dedication to MSMEs, I am proud to announce that the banking sector has committed 150 billion shillings per year over the next 3 years to support these enterprises. This initiative aims to address one of the major challenges MSMEs face, which is access to finance. Recent studies show that nearly 40% of small businesses struggle to access the capital they need for growth. The high uptake of the Hustler Fund is a clear demonstration of this funding need for the smallest of these businesses. We believe that by supporting MSMEs to formalize their operations, they'll be able to access bank credit easily for expansion. And by doing so, much more of MSMEs will become important contributors to our tax revenue. Speaking of tax revenues, the banking sector remains one of the most compliant when it comes to Excellency's call to lipe ushuru. Indeed, our collective tax contribution has doubled over the past 5 years. During that 5-year period, that's from 2018 to 2023, Your Excellency, the banking sector contributed a total of 825 billion shillings to the exchequer. In 2023 alone, the sector's total tax contribution reached a record 190 billion shillings, double what it was in 2018. And this amount represents 9% of all government taxes collected. What these numbers tell me is that for every 100 shillings that the sector generates, 57 shillings goes to the government in taxes, 28 shillings goes to employees as salaries, and only 15 shillings goes to shareholders. I think it's important to mention this because there has been a lot of commentary about how greedy banks are. So I thought I should mention that, Your Excellency. When we break down the taxes in 2023, the industry contributed 73 billion in corporate taxes, making up 30% of all corporate taxes paid in Kenya. We paid 29 billion in payee and 24 billion in excise duty, representing close to 60% of excise duty collected from financial services industry as a whole. Your Excellency, I hope this breakdown demonstrates why we strongly request your government to shield the banking sector from further taxes or regulations that could affect this important sector to the economy. In the same vein, the Kenya Revenue Authority, I urge them, must remain highly invested in the sector's growth and perhaps consider its approach to the many disputes it has with banks at either the tax tribunal or in the courts. Besides, the industry innovative solutions have enabled the banking industry to remain resilient over the years. The growth of tax contribution can be attributed directly to our efforts to help MSMEs formalize, open bank accounts, access credit, and contribute to the economy through direct and indirect tax payments. I am pleased to note that since 2018, through the Inua Enterprise Program, we continue to successfully train businesses across the country, collectively as an industry and under KBA at the individual bank level. Your Excellency, at KBA level, we have trained over 150,000 small businesses who are now on the way to formalizing their businesses. That's not to count the many hundreds of thousands that individual banks have themselves trained. These efforts have increased the creditworthiness, operational efficiency, and resilience of MSMEs, resulting in both business growth and increased tax contributions. Building on this, we are excited to launch the MSME Accelerator Program, which will provide mentorship, more targeted financial literacy training, and market access interventions to help MSMEs scale their operations in collaboration with our partners. And on this, Your Excellency, I must say we have been in touch with the Ministry of MSMEs, and they tell us they're about to offload 2 million customers on the Hustler Fund to the banks. So we're waiting to welcome them, Your Excellency. While we continue to support MSMEs as engines of national prosperity, we acknowledge that challenges remain. These challenges include the pending bills to MSMEs, which currently are estimated at about 70 billion shillings. These delays negatively impact supply chains, business viability, and bank lending. We laud efforts by the government to address this issue to ensure a healthier business environment and provide MSMEs a conducive environment to flourish. Your Excellency, the message I was asked to deliver is that if there is any way to prioritize these MSMEs who are owed small amounts by government and also us as corporations to do the same, that we should certainly endeavor to pay these SMEs. Over the years, we have also observed that too many regulations stifle growth among MSMEs. We therefore urge the government, under your leadership, Your Excellency, to streamline regulations that burden MSMEs and divert their focus from growth. It is estimated that nearly 60% of entrepreneurs feel overwhelmed by compliance requirements, which can hinder their ability to innovate and expand. As an industry, we want to recommend and commend the government for introducing the Credit Guarantee Scheme through the National Treasury. This initiative, Your Excellency, has played a crucial role in unlocking capital for Kenya MSMEs by reducing the lending risk for financial institutions, thereby encouraging banks to extend credit to small businesses. Your Excellency, through this initiative, we have lent 6 billion shillings to the smallest of businesses in all 47 counties. So all the counties have actually benefited. By providing this much-needed access to finance, the program has enabled these enterprises to expand their operations, create jobs, and stabilize their businesses. To enhance MSME financing, we fully endorse the planned transition of the Kenya Credit Guarantee Scheme to a private limited company with minority government shareholding. This model has been proven effective in other economies and can help accelerate the use of guarantees to support credit access by MSMEs in the country. Your Excellency, in the same way that we created the Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company, this would support MSMEs, and I do share Your Excellency's concern that our contribution towards affordable housing needs to be enhanced, even as we do what we are doing. As an industry, our collective efforts are focused on providing access to tailored financial solutions, capacity building programs, and creating an enabling environment for these enterprises to thrive. We'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our partners and stakeholders, including our regulator, the Central Bank of Kenya, ably represented here by our governor, the development institutions for their unwavering support in advancing MSME development. Together, we're building a stronger foundation for these businesses to flourish and continue transforming our nation's economic landscape. In conclusion, I extend our collective gratitude to Your Excellency the President, the government, and all stakeholders for their unwavering support. The banking industry strongly believes that together we can drive stronger MSME growth and significantly energize Kenya's economic transformation for job creation. The banking industry remains the biggest betters on Kenya. Every day we bet on our country, Your Excellency. Thank you, and I now invite you all to watch a quick video about the program we are launching today. Thank you.
The Inua SME program was established in 2018 as a financial literacy capacity building initiative. It was designed to de-risk MSMEs with the sole purpose of enhancing their ability to access bank finance. The program objectives include 1. Transitioning informal enterprises to formal businesses. 2. Promoting business growth and job creation. 3. Enhancing access to finance. 4. Helping businesses increase product quality, marketability, and reach, including locally, regionally, across Africa, and internationally. 5. Ensuring that every county has a success story from the SME program. As a means to capture the gains made under the program, KBA has interviewed a number of MSMEs supported under the program to gain their insights on the program's impact.
Majina ni Rosemary Wawera Nyaga, mwenye hili nduka, naitwa Petima Enterprises. I do wholesale and I also do retail. I started with the Nuka program training 2020. Na till date sinaendelea na nimekuwa nikiattend pamoja na Equity Bank. Na simekuwa sikinisaidia. From Inuka, there was a program walikuwa nasema business management. It is how to do business professionally. Na ujue sasa hujasoma lakini umefind yourself in the business. They trained me how to do business, things to consider in business, how to do bookkeeping, how to do records, and how to search for more ideas on how to do business. Sinaweza sema simekuwa mzuri because lastly niliona walikuwa nafundisha mpaka mambo ya kilimo biashara. Na watu wengi wako mpaka kwa kilimo biashara, lakini hizo trainings wacha waanze na wale watu wako chini. Kuna watu wako chini sana lakini sijawaona kwa hizo trainings. Kuna mtu wako pale ule mnaitanga mama mboga. Mama mboga by the way ameinuka sana siku hizi. Kuna mtu wako pale kwa village ajui where to start. So hizo trainings mimi ningeomba nisiingie sasa kwa village. Because ninafikiria siko sana kwa town.
We sincerely thank JICA for the funding support. We also wish to acknowledge the support from our member banks who extended more than 5 billion Kenyan shillings financing to viable businesses supported under the Inua SME program. Finally, we thank Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry and CARO Foundation for mobilizing the MSMEs supported under the program.
And next, Your Excellency, allow me to now call on the Governor Central Bank, Dr. Kamau Thuge, to make his remarks.
I got it, okay. His Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable CPA John Bandi, the Cabinet Secretary, the National Treasury and Economic Planning, the Principal Secretary is present, Mr. John Gashora, the Chairman, Kenya Bankers Association, CEOs of commercial and microfinance banks present, and Mr. Raymond Molenje, the Acting CEO, Kenya Bankers Association. Your Excellency, I'm very pleased to join you at this launch of the KBA 2024 Inuka Biashara MSME exhibition, which is a key milestone for the banking sector. The MSMEs play an important role in the Kenyan economy through employment creation and support of livelihoods, as well as being a resource of resilience of our economy. I wish to thank His Excellency for prioritizing MSMEs as a key pillar of the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The Central Bank of Kenya continues to work very closely with the banking sector in ensuring that MSMEs achieve their full potential in transforming the economy. The theme of the exhibition, Accelerating MSMEs Development for Sustainable Economic Growth, therefore aligns seamlessly with the CBK's mandate to promote a stable and inclusive financial system and supports economic growth and development, as well as jobs creation. Your Excellency, macroeconomic stability is essential for creating a conducive environment for MSMEs, as well as other businesses in the economy to thrive. Against a very challenging domestic and global economic environment in 2022 and also in 2023, the CBK successfully implemented policy measures and reforms that have contributed to the restoration of macroeconomic stability in the country. Specifically, the overall inflation has declined from a peak of 9.6% in October of 2022 to the lowest level in over a decade of 3.6% in September 2024. And this reflects the impact of tightening of monetary policy, improved weather conditions, and provision by the government of subsidized fertilizer, which has enhanced food production. The Kenya shilling, which was one of the worst performing currencies in 2023, has now appreciated by about 18% against the US dollar since the beginning of 2024, making it the best performing currency globally against major currencies. The shilling appreciation reflects improved foreign investor confidence in the economy, which has resulted in increased foreign investments in the country. In addition, exports, tourism earnings, and diaspora remittances have performed very well. The reforms in the foreign exchange market to enhance transparency have also been critical in encouraging foreign exchange inflows. The overall balance of payments is projected to record a surplus of 554 million, which together with disbursements from our development partners will result in a build-up of the CBK usable reserves to 8.6 billion by end December 2024, and this is equivalent to about 4.2 months of import cover. I just want to add that this 8.6 billion is, we have been able to build this the reserve to 8.6, not because of borrowing, but because the exports and remittances have performed relatively well. The last time that the reserves of the central bank were almost at this level was in 2021, where we had reached 8.8. But it's important to note that during that year we had issued a Eurobond of 2.1 billion. So that build up to 8.8 was as a result of the issuance of a Eurobond. This year, although we issued a Eurobond, it was for liability management and did not go to building up our reserves. So in other words, this 8.6 billion is a significant achievement for the central bank. With the improved investor confidence and macroeconomic stability, the economy is expected to remain resilient in 2024, with real GDP growth projected at 5.1%, well above the projected global growth of 3.2% and that of sub-Saharan Africa at 3.7%. And although agriculture and services sectors are resilient, we continue, Your Excellency, to see some challenges in the manufacturing sector, an area that I know you're very concerned about. But I think, Your Excellency, if we are to really bump up our growth to about the area of 7 to 8%, we really will need to address the manufacturing sector. This year, we expect manufacturing to grow by slightly less than 3% in real terms, Your Excellency, and this again will result in a reduction in the share of manufacturing in overall GDP and moving us in the direction that we don't want to go. The CBK is building on the prevailing macroeconomic stability to support the government's economic growth objective. This is reflected in the recent lowering of the central bank rate from 13% to 12% in the past 2 months. Following the lowering of the CBR, we have already seen a decline in the short-term interest rates for treasury bills, and we expect this reduction in the CBR to be transmitted to lower commercial banks' lending rates, which will facilitate growth in credit to the private sector. I would like to strongly urge the banks to lower their lending rates as soon as possible. This will be a win-win for both consumers, investors, as well as the banks, as it will stimulate economic growth by boosting credit to the private sector while at the same time addressing the rising non-performing loans of banks. With inflation declining steadily and expected to decline, and the CBK easing monetary policy, there is absolutely no reason not to have lower interest rates by the commercial banks. And Your Excellency, we have agreed with the commercial banks that we will be having a meeting just to brainstorm on how to ensure that with the lower inflation and the lower CBR, that they also extend lower interest rates to borrowers. Lastly, Your Excellency, based on the 2023 CBK survey on MSME access to bank credit, the total lending to MSMEs by Kenya's banking sector stood at shillings 750 billion, which is equivalent to 21.3% of the total banking sector loan book. There is therefore scope to do much more, as the survey estimated a demand of 1 trillion shillings from the MSME sector. Accordingly, my challenge to the banking sector is to leverage on innovations and advances in technology to design credit products that are attuned to the needs of MSMEs. On our part as CBK, in addition to ensuring that we achieve our constitutional mandate of price and financial sector stability, we will continue with the surveys and other diagnostic work on credit to MSMEs to inform review of the legal and regulatory framework as needed. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Next, Your Excellency, allow me to now invite the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning, Honorable John Badi, to make his remarks, and in turn invite His Excellency the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Tumpigie makofi akija tafadhali. Karibu Waziri.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya and the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces. His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and also the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Principal Secretaries present here, the Chairman, Kenya Bankers Association, Mr. John Kashora, CEO of the Commercial and Microfinance Banks present, Kenya Bankers Association, Acting CEO, Mr. Raymond Mulenji. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my pleasure, Your Excellency, to, in collaboration with Kenya Bankers Association, to host you in this event to discuss the future of our MSMEs in the country and by extension the anchors to our economic transformation agenda. The National Treasury remains committed to supporting initiatives that are pro-economic growth, which would ensure sustainability and job creation. The subject of tax compliance and payments and supporting MSMEs growth and transformation in the country are very critical at the moment. Your Excellency, First of all, allow me to laud or appreciate the banking sector for the level of commitment that this sector has in ensuring compliance with statutory requirements, laws and regulations, and more importantly, tax payments. This is one sector where we have very little problems with collecting taxes. So as the National Treasury, we commend this sector for its commitment to remaining at the forefront in battling the challenges that affect our economy in partnership with the National Treasury. Remember, Your Excellency, that during COVID-19, when COVID-19 hit us, the banking sector, working together with the Central Bank of Kenya, moved fast to support businesses that were facing supply-side constraints due to disruptions in their trade and supply chains. The sector restructured more than half of its total private loans to ensure that customers remained afloat amidst the ravaging effects of the pandemic. Your Excellency, we gather here to celebrate the banking sector's contribution to our exchequer funding, contributing a total of over 190.26 billion in taxes in 2023, as the chairman mentioned. The sector continues to alleviate funding challenges that the government faces in its efforts to deal with pressing expenditure requirements. Allow me to highlight one intervention that the National Treasury has implemented with the banking sector to support lending to MSMEs in the country, and that is the Kenya Credit Guarantee Company. Through intervention that was launched in 2020 and as an emergency measure and with a seed capital of only 3 billion shillings, Your Excellency, which ring-fenced to provide guarantees to support businesses at the height of the devastating effects of COVID-19 and implemented through 7 banks, the banking sector has been able to extend loans amounting to slightly over 6 billion shillings distributed in all our 47 counties. Of noting, Your Excellency, is the fact that about 70% of the beneficiaries of these loans are MSMEs that would otherwise have not received loans due to perceived risks. Therefore, the National Treasury lauds your administration's commitment to supporting MSMEs growth and development as envisioned in bottom-up economic transformation agenda. And towards this end, the National Treasury has put in place measures to progressively start the payment of the government pending bills owed to businesses to enhance economic growth, which the chairman talked to. So there, Your Excellency, I would just mention something before I move, that, Your Excellency, a lot is happening in this country in terms of development. A lot is happening in the economy progressively. Kamau Thuge, the governor, has mentioned the fundamentals. He has mentioned low inflation rates at 3.6%, which is very low. He has mentioned about our reserves, very healthy. He has mentioned about our currency, very stable. Our economic growth at 5%, 5.2%, is above average in the sub-Saharan Africa and even globally. So now the problem, Your Excellency, that we must work on is liquidity challenges in the economy, which is largely caused by lack of paying pending bills. So that is why Treasury is committing to supporting especially the micro, small and medium enterprises. The other one, the governor has talked about the interest rate. If we can sort out these two, I am very, very sure that this economy would completely take off. We are at the takeoff stage. And that is why I said today, if you read the papers, that there is light, that I'm seeing positivity. Let us not look back. Let us not be pessimistic. And the banking sector will help us here. As we take note of the fact that over 80% of jobs in Kenya are supported by MSMEs, we recognize that interventions aimed at revitalizing MSMEs would go a long way in tackling our long-standing unemployment problem among the youth of Kenya. In this regard, Your Excellency, we have a chance to collaborate with players in the private sector, such as the Kenya Bankers Association, to trigger stronger progress towards economic transformation that we so desire and are determined to achieve. As the Line Ministry, we are committed to supporting initiatives that bring together players through private-public partnerships that are more sustainable, affordable for all players, and ensuring harmony in the design of policy and guidelines of market conduct. I think we need to also be very clear as a country. There are some mega infrastructural developments that we cannot fund through exchequer. We must look for alternative financing, and therefore PPP, new as it is in this country, much as people don't understand it, we must make the citizens of Kenya understand PPP and understand that when we give out a project to be done through PPP, it is not selling. It is about concessioning that project to a private developer who works with us collaboratively to ensure that we have infrastructure that is competitive enough. Rwanda is developing has developed a serious airport. Ethiopia has an airport. Kenya cannot lag behind. We are losing our competitiveness as the hub in this region. And therefore, whether it is Adani or whoever it is, we must agree that someone must do our airport. And that communication must go out. And it is not just airport alone, major projects. Let us not shy away from engaging Kenyans. And Your Excellency, I know you will speak about more of these things. I want to stop because when your boss is around, you don't speak too much. Allow me, Your Excellency, at this juncture, to invite the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, to come and address us and invite you to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Mbandi. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, my colleague Mbandi, Governor of Central Bank, the leadership and members of the banking fraternity present here today, and the MSMEs. Good morning. Your Excellency, I'll just pick up one or two things. First, I would like us to recollect that in this very building, KICC, earlier in the year, you led the world, in conjunction with the World Bank, in calling for the IDA 21 replenishment, and you pitched for the world to raise close to $120 billion to be targeted towards concessional financing. In the same building, you also led the same call, but for the African Development Bank, to replenish their 17th round, and you are pitching for about $25 billion. And the message when you were doing this was that we need to have an inclusive and agile financial system that targets those who are generally underserved, particularly if we have to grow. Therefore, this meeting here, I think, is very important, because as you call for that global approach, it is important that your home base, your own financial institutions, are also financially stable, agile, and inclusive, and pro-people in their models. The second thing I would just want to point out is that I want to pick up from where Mbandi did touch, that we have sound macroeconomic policies, and the governor also alluded to this. And perhaps one of the quickest way to point out this is, how do you explain when global giants like JP Morgan are struggling to have a footing in Kenya? I think this is a stamp of approval of the financial and economic policies that are being pursued. Otherwise, they would not want to have a footing in this place. So that is testimony that we can achieve a lot if we work together. Finally, Your Excellency, I was in Kwale on your behalf, and this was to do with affordable housing, something that you have passionately pursued. And in the comments that were made there is that the projects that are ongoing now have generated subcontracts valued at 5 billion shillings for the medium and small enterprises. 5 billion contracts, subcontracts, whether they are doors, whether they are frames, and other aspects that are required for this affordable housing. So there is a great synergy that can be developed and that can be leveraged on if we can have the proper focus so that we move forward and uplift the people of Kenya. With these remarks, Your Excellency, it is now my honor to request the members to be upstanding so that we can usher you to the podium to make your remarks. Asante sana. A round of applause will do.
Thank you very much. Let's take our seats. Asante sana. Thank you. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Hamjambo. I am very proud and encouraged to join you as we discuss the future of our economic transformation and the vital role of medium, small, and micro enterprises in shaping our economic future. As you are all aware, among the 5 pillars of this administration, one of the 5 pillars is MSMEs. And it was deliberate and intentional that we identified the space around MSMEs as a critical sector for the transformation of our economy. We recognize and embrace and champion the critical contribution of MSMEs, notably because they create between 80 and 90% of jobs and also generate nearly 1/3 of gross domestic product. Without a doubt, under the right conditions, MSMEs have even greater potential to drive national economic transformation at an accelerated pace, creating jobs for our young people and improving the livelihoods of both urban and rural communities and enterprises. Listening to the lady who spoke to us in the presentation here, she spoke from those in the agricultural sector, largely in the rural areas, all the way to the marketplace. And in that ecosystem, we have MSMEs at every level, at the level of farmers, small-scale farmers who require credit, transporters, people working in that whole space. And it is the reason why, apart from our housing program, we are also building 400 new markets for our mama mbogas and all the people who are involved in that space, because that piece of infrastructure improves their business. The bottom-up economic transformation agenda outlines strategies and strategic interventions that the government will implement in collaboration with the private sector investments in creating an enabling environment across all sectors, particularly for MSMEs to unlock opportunities and achieve inclusive transformation. I am particularly encouraged by the thematic focus of this event because the empowerment of MSMEs is at the core of our plan, which is our vehicle to deliver equitable development and inclusive growth while engaging all citizens of our republic. I also take this opportunity to commend the banking industry, not only for its essential role in ensuring efficient functioning of our economy and maintaining the integrity of our financial sector, but also for leading by example in tax compliance. In 2023, the banking industry contributed 190 billion in taxes, reflecting both its performance and potential. And I must congratulate the banking industry for your contribution. Asanteni sana. These funds significantly support the government efforts to improve infrastructure, enhance public services, and promote robust economic activity. This event has fundamental positive implications for economic growth because banking institutions have demonstrated their commitment to expand lending to MSME sector through a variety of dedicated products and solutions that have been showcased here today. I went through the many booths and the many products that are that have been developed by different banks to address different sectors of our MSME ecosystem. And I want to say the array, the buffet, the number of different products demonstrate your commitment and the agility of our financial sector to provide tailor-made products for different sectors of our economy. And I want to encourage that as government, we will work with you to make it possible for you to be able to overcome whatever challenges that are there so that we can serve both the private sector market, but also more specifically the MSME sector in the banking industry. And as I make this commitment, we want to make it significant and impactful. According to the central bank, our banks provided Kenya shillings 783 billion in loans to MSMEs in 2023, which represents an increase of about 75 billion. As we launch the MSME Accelerated Program today, let us reflect and collaborate in advancing its stated aim of boosting small business capabilities through comprehensive assessments, advanced training, and tailored support from public and private sector partners, as well as development finance institutions. I know John, the chair of the Kenya Bankers, has said that we will shortly be graduating some of the clients in some of the people in the Hustler Fund, about 2 million of them. I think next month we will be announcing their graduation now to the MSME sector. And it demonstrates the possibilities that exist. And it also gives you an indication. Hustler Fund is retailing at 8%. Many banks are today at 17, 18, 20, 20-something percent. I want to tell you that the experience we have seen with the Hustler Fund, and I think KCB and Family Bank can bear me witness, that it is still possible to do business even with single-digit interest rates. We just need to work together and find ways of making sure that we make it much more efficient, leverage more on technology, work more with KYCs. We have gathered a lot of information on borrowers, and we will be availing that information to the banking sector so that you can trace some of the people who will be graduating to you. We will give you their banking industry, their banking records. We will give you their borrowing history, and you can be able to make much more easier decisions on how much, when to lend to them. And again, we are prepared to share this information with you so that we can progressively develop more products that helps our MSME ecosystem. As we do this, I am confident that our banking sector's dedicated support program will facilitate MSMEs to develop scalable business models, strengthen financial management skills, and again access to investors, markets, and formal credit. I commend the banking industry's pledge to double lending to MSMEs by providing 150 billion in new loans annually beginning next year. Accordingly, the government will support this bold and innovative move through policy and institutional banking, including measures to guarantee the prompt payment of all pending bills, which will commence once the ongoing verification process is completed. And John Buddy and the team at Treasury are seized of this matter. We have discussed at length on what needs to be done. We are developing alternative products on how to raise financing for us to deal with this challenge of pending bills, so that we can enhance liquidity in the financial ecosystem and make sure that banks can lend more. Let me also take this opportunity to pay tribute and to congratulate the banks for working with us on the matter of exchange rate. I know that early this year we had a very robust engagement led by the central bank, and I must commend all the banks who came to the table and worked with us to make sure we deal with the challenge of interest rates. Because of that collaboration, today our exchange rate has stabilized at around 129. I must commend you, because it had gone all the way to 165, 167. But because of coming together, working together, the industry looking at, yes, it's good to make money, but at what cost to the economy? And I must say to the banks, congratulations for being part of the solution in that space. But I want to give you another 2 assignments, because you already did very well and passed with very high marks on the first one. Now it is another opportunity for us to work together around improving manufacturing. The lending to the manufacturing sector is not sufficient. Our manufacturing sector is not doing well, and it is weighing down our economy. And it is the reason why we had interventions that we had worked with you. And I am happy that, again, we now have a business bill that will go to the House that has all the thoughts and ideas and suggestions of industry on how we can provide a better environment for business to thrive. And this bill will contain many of the aspects that will support the industry. We've taken ideas from manufacturers, we've taken ideas from traders, we've taken ideas from investors, so that we can provide a better working environment, a better investment climate, and an enabling business ecosystem to support our manufacturing, trade, and investment. I want to encourage industry to work with the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, so that we can together, again, fashion a new space for business to thrive. I want to encourage the banking industry, the MSMEs, to work with us as we develop this new business bill that would help us do more, especially in the space around manufacturing. I remember last year, actually this year, having a conversation with somebody who is manufacturing in Kenya. And the biggest challenge they have is that we continue to import products that we can manufacture in Kenya. And we lose significantly because the raw materials that we would have used to manufacture locally are not used. The jobs we are supposed to create locally are lost. And so the opportunities to grow our own manufacturing capabilities and enterprises is also lost. So there is need for a determined, affirmative action to drive our industrialization. And part of that endeavor includes availing credit to our manufacturing sector. I must commend you because the banking sector in Kenya is the most profitable globally. But I also want to tell you that you can do even better by lending to more people at lower rates so that you enhance your, so that you use the economies of scale. You know, the more people you lend to, the bigger the pie we all bake. So I want to encourage you that that is the space we want to work with you around and to see how we can do this again together. I know you have mentioned something about KRA. I just want to promise you that our strategy is not to push for more taxes on the people who are already paying. Our strategy is for more people to pay little taxes so that we can reduce big taxes on the people who are already paying so much. That is the way that we want to go into the future. And we are overhauling the management and the business practice of Kenya Revenue Authority, leveraging more on technology so that we can be able to do more and be able to ensure that we raise domestically, we mobilize domestic resources more and reduce on what we are borrowing. So lending is one assignment that I want to give you to our private sector. Lending to the private sector is at what percent, Tuge? I think we came down significantly. You know, the lending to the private sector only grew by 1.3%, which is really insignificant. We want that sector, the private sector, to do more. And I know what we need to do as a public sector to enable you to do that. So we will do our part. Please do yours. Let me also ask you, as the banking sector, another request. We already are signed in with a Pan-African payment system. The Pan-African payment system, Tuge tells me he convened a meeting with the banking industry, and I must commend you. Many people from the banking industry showed up. And the whole reason why we are doing this is we want to reduce our transactions cost, especially for products and trade that are transboundary. We spend about $5 billion as a continent in just, exchange rate issues. With the Pan-African payment system, we can sell our products and buy products from the continent in our local currencies. That way, we avoid losses as a result of exchange of different currency exchange rates. So I want to encourage the banking industry to participate in that space, because Kenya has been identified as the place where we want to domicile the Pan-African payment system. But our drawback is that not as many banks are using that facility. I want to encourage, and I have told Gashora, the chairman of the Kenya Bankers, to encourage more banks to participate in that. It is good for you. It reduces your transactions cost. It reduces unnecessary exchange rate issues, and it helps us pay for products from different countries in local currency. That way, our traders don't have to run around trying to change money from one currency to another. Let me also request for one more thing. I hope I'm not making too many requests, because I have my banker here, and I don't want to get a letter that I am behind schedule in paying my affordable housing, as Musalia has said. We have 5 billion shilling worth of contracts that we have given to MSMEs. These are Juakali artisans. They are making doors, they are making windows, they are making hinges. And what we have done to make it much more professional, we have standardized all the windows. They can now manufacture in bulk. We have also standardized all the doors. They can also manufacture in bulk. But they keep telling me that you ask them too many questions when they come to look for credit. And oftentimes, we've had to step in and provide some guarantees. They have already a proven track record. I want to encourage the banks to look at these MSMEs in the housing ecosystem and see how you can support them. They have legitimate business contracts, and we want to see how we can work together. So this is what I envision as we work together in this space. You have my commitment that we will be disciplined as the public sector. We've taken some very difficult decisions to make sure that we stay the straight and narrow. It is the reason why we have built our reserves. It is the reason why we have invested in the right places to make sure that we bring down inflation. It is my target that next year inflation will be sub 3%. That is a target that we have. And as we bring down inflation and reduce the cost of living, as we stabilize the exchange rate and make sure that we are much more predictable, and as we now work together with you on making sure that we lower interest rates, because that is the trajectory globally, we should be able to be in better space. And you know what? I mean, the international financial system already recognized that our fundamentals are right. That is why there are inflows of investments into Kenya. That is why many investors are looking to Kenya as a place to invest. That's why our tourism is doing okay, our remittances are doing okay, because the fundamentals are right. We need to believe in ourselves more than currently we are doing. We need to be much more positive about our country. How come others believe in us more than we believe in ourselves? That's a question we need to ask ourselves. How can people out there believe in us and believe in our country and believe in Kenya more than we as Kenyans believe in ourselves? I think that's a challenge that we have, and the banking sector can lead the way. Finally, I urge the National Treasury and the Ministry of Cooperative and MSME Development to align policies in order to provide sustainable framework for engaging with opportunities for transformation and addressing the challenges of MSMEs that they face in accessing credit. And I encourage them to work with you as the banking industry so that we can foster and broaden inclusion of stakeholders in the financial services sector and bring the MSMEs on board. I want to thank you very much for what you're doing, and you can take it from me that from the public sector, we will do what we must, and we will also leverage on technology to make sure that we don't lose the resources that you have raised for us to use in ensuring that we do what we must do as a country. Otherwise, asanteni sana. I wish you well as you continue this meeting. I am very happy with what the banking sector is doing, especially in contributing to our domestic mobilization of resources, and also what you're doing to support our MSME sector, the biggest sector we have in Kenya. Asanteni sana, and God bless you.
A round of applause for His Excellency. Thank you, Your Excellency. With your permission, I'll request that you kindly advance to come here, Your Excellency, and press the buzzer to have the launch of the accelerator program and the total tax contribution report. And let me ask His Excellency to be joined by His Excellency the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Governor CBK, the CS Treasury, the CEO CBK, and the PS MSME, Madam Susan Mangeni, to join and flank His Excellency as he presses the buzzer. It's going to be the official launch of the total accelerated program and the total tax contribution report. So I'll request that the gentleman will just flank His Excellency, and we'll have the video that is going to be the launch before we finish. So Your Excellency, at the count of 3, in 3, 2, 1. Let's trail our eyes to the video on the screens. And with that, we'll also request that we have the documents that will be presented to His Excellency by the Chair to be presented, the Chair KBA to present the documents. Wonderful. Then just to have a photo opportunity. And with that, Your Excellency will now anthem. So I'll request that if there be anybody who's seated to kindly be upstanding as we finish with the Kenyan national anthem. The anthem.